There has been so many cancellation attempts on Hoyoverse, but none of them seem to work. And why is that? Well, there's a couple of reasons, and most of them come from my own perspective, so you are free to disagree. Now, let me ask you this question. Is it a hot take to say that Genshin players have incredibly short attention spans and they are really easy to get distracted? For an example, do you remember the first anniversary disaster? It was basically the most successful cancellation attempt because it forced Hoyoverse to actually do something. I mean, it wasn't much. We got one temple and we got that musical bundle that gave us wings, which was supposed to be paid. But once the players received these rewards, they stopped rebelling against Hoyoverse immediately. And there has been so many stupid videos like, devs listened! Oh my god, Hoyoverse finally listened! Surprise reaction face. And the whole cancellation event died faster than your chance of ever finding a girlfriend. And let me tell you, there are so many players who are like, yes, cancel them, support the cancellation against Hoyoverse. And then the next post they are going to put is, oh my god, Arlecchino is getting a rerun, who is going to save for her? You can say that these players have the intelligence of a monkey. Actually, that is not really a nice thing to say, that would be an insult to the monkey. And let me tell you, this is not the only dumb decision the Genshin players made, because they decided to put their non-existing brains together and come with a genius solution. Let's continue playing the game, but we are going to go free to play. Now allow me to explain why is this decision so stupid. To contrast the popular belief made by your favorite Genshin Impact content creator, being free to play or being a whale doesn't matter at all. What actually matters is how much time are you spending playing the game? Are you an active player? Because let me ask you something. What is more important? A player who comes once a month and spends $100, or a player who doesn't spend anything but plays every single day for a couple hours? And to explain why this is important, it's because they become loyal customers to the company. They're playing the game every single day, they're making their numbers larger. These players are also more likely to draw fan art, to buy merch, to go to conventions, to do cosplay. And this is very important because company who has large numbers can bring investors and partners more easily, thus making them much more money. And the most important part about these players is that you cannot buy them. They need to be naturally produced, and this is basically your core audience. Without them, your game would be dead. So the best thing you can do is actually stop playing the game, stop watching videos, stop interacting with their IP. Because when Hoyoverse sees that interaction is falling down and players are losing interest, nobody is interacting with the IP, they would shit themselves and be forced to do something. Second problem is all the constant infighting and not enough organization. If you have a genuine problem with the game, for example, not enough difficulty, boring quest because NPCs have too much dialogue and everything is focused on them, Paimon is talking too much, etc, etc, there are going to be so many MiHoYo bootlickers who are going to attack you, tell you to log off in real life and try to stop you in many different ways. And that's because you're not allowed to make fun of my multi-billion-dollar company. And it's really pathetic to see these kinds of people because, let's be honest, they're losers. They have nothing going on for them and they're basically basing their personality on their loyalty to the company. And the biggest problem, you cannot reason with them, not at all. The next reason that makes Hoyoverse basically uncancelable is the cultural differences between West and East. Allow me to explain. The most recent Genshin controversy is about skin color. Western players wanted to see more diverse colors when it comes to Netling characters, and they are incredibly upset that every single character has a lighter skin tone. And what's funny, that even voice actors started canceling Hoyoverse, at least the Western ones. But to be honest, in the East, nobody gives a fuck about skin color. From the things I have seen on 4chan, 2chan, 5chan, as well as YouTube and Bilibili, I have come to the conclusion that Eastern players don't care about this social justice that Americans are so obsessed by. They want their game to be playable, to have many characters. They want those characters to remain single and available. They despise social justice and feminism, and especially in countries like Korea, if you're accused of being a feminist, you will lose your job instantly. I mean, just look at the Korean gender gacha war. That is still going on, and if you want to learn more, there are these two amazing videos made by the Moon channel, and I suggest you watch them to gain a new perspective. And now let's talk race. Black people, brown people, people with darker skin in general are very rare in Korea, Japan and China, and they are not seen as attractive. In countries, for example like South Korea, the skin tone they find attractive is pale, being pale as a ghost. There are so many soaps, creams, whitening products that even though they're harmful, can whiten your skin to such extent that it looks like you bleached your skin. But this is attractive to them. They're like this. And this is why there's so many pale characters compared to tan or black characters. Because they're not appealing to the Eastern players and they do not make money. Of course there are exceptions, like Noir from Nikkei. And let me tell you, this is not because of the racism. The biggest factor is the cultural differences. People in Korea, Asia, and Eastern countries in general are not used to seeing people that are different skin color from them. So the demand doesn't exist. And before we move on the most important reason, let me show you this funny ad I found. I know it doesn't help my case, but I just wanted to show it because I found it so funny. And now let's talk about the most important reason. Did you ever wonder why every single cancellation attempt made by Westerners has failed? But when China complains, every single issue is resolved almost immediately. For an example, Novelette. By using his ability, you can spin very fast and deal a tremendous amount of damage in short time. And when Hoyovese patched it, CN players exploded immediately and the change was made in 24 hours. And everybody was compensated with a 10 pool. A goddamn 10 pool that we get once a year at anniversary. But why does China have so much influence over Hoyoverse? Well, the answer is simple and also terrifying. Unlike Western players, whose anger and frustration, threats and cancellation attempts are confined in the edges of Twitter and social media, in Eastern Bloc it's different, because Eastern players don't make threats, they make promises. And let me give you some examples. Do you remember the Honkai Impact 3rd Bunny Girl drama? To give you some cliff notes, basically for the global anniversary, Hoyoverse released a video of Honkai Impact 3rd characters dancing in bunny girl suits. Chinese players got so upset because they look like hookers to them and the event was cancelled. Then Chinese players got a 10 pool while global players got their event ruined and they basically received barely 2 pools. But the craziest part is that actually somebody made an attempt on the CEO of Hoyoverse because they were so angry. Just imagine what kind of loser you have to be to attempt to take a life from another person because you were upset at pixels. And this was not the only attempt at life that Hoyoverse players made, because there was a convention in Seoul And some people planted bombs there. Thankfully the bombs were fake, but just imagine if they were real, how many lives could have been lost. They were people who took lives of their own cats because they were unsatisfied with a character. They were players who threatened Hoyoverse legally every single time they make a mistake. For an example, Zhongli's situation, where players were so unsatisfied with his kit that they threatened Hoyoverse with the involvement of Chinese government that they had to change it. If a voice actor or a person working for any gacha company that operates, for example, in South Korea, is found to be a feminist, they're going to lose their job, they're going to be harassed, and potentially have their life threatened because they are ruining the game. And this is the biggest reason why Westerners have such low influence on these companies, because you cannot hurt them, you cannot hurt their employees, and you cannot threaten the life and livelihood of people working at those companies. Your threats stop only at words, their don't. And this reason is the difference that makes Hoyoverse decide which player base should they listen to. If you do not agree with me, that is okay, but you have to admit that it makes a lot of sense. But of course, this is only the opinion I hold. This is all I had to say. I'll look out.